Hello and welcome to the Chit Chat with Happy Jack podcast. I am your host, Jackie Wachter, and I am so excited to talk with you tonight. It is the very busy season for us at work right now. We are in retail. We have a business called Fount, and we make leather handbags. And right now is very busy. We're 3 days away from Christmas, and it's what we pray for all year, right? To be busy around Christmas. So I am thankful, but I am sort of losing my voice because I've been talking in the stores a lot. And I'm just really excited that I'm here tonight doing this podcast because it's been tricky to keep up with this commitment during our busy season at work. But I promised myself that I'm doing one episode a week. So even though I'm 2 days late here, I am doing it one episode a week. And this is my lovely Coco. If you're watching on YouTube, here she is. She's tired because she has been at the stores with me too. She loves to go to the stores and she gets to see lots of kids and lots of dogs, which always perk her up. But then otherwise, the rest of the day, she's usually sleeping while we all run around and help people find their dream bags. So anyways, this week, I am excited about our topic. The topic is goals and habits, and January is right around the corner. It is a really fun time every year. I'm an Aquarius. January 30th is my birthday. I don't get like super into that, but I do love the energy of a new year. Every year I get so excited about setting new goals and just like the fresh start of a new year. But I'm not always the best at keeping all of my goals. I find if I write them down, that really helps. But it is tricky because you come into the new year with all these ambitions. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to, meet X goals. And, sometimes those don't happen. Specifically for me, the working out one always gets tricky. So I actually want to share this great book. I'm going to touch on it later, but this was life-changing for me. I read this last year. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I don't know what year it came out. I think I'm a little late to the game with this one, but I just read it last year in 2023, and it actually really helped me realize that when I create these goals, if I don't plan them into my day, it's really hard to actually keep the goals. Some of those like more small daily goals, right? And then there's other bigger goals that are more like things that you accomplish over a year. So I'm going to share what some of my 2023 goals were, and I'm going to give myself a score. And let you know, some of them are embarrassing. I'm going to let you know how I rated myself on some of these goals. Some I did okay on, some I failed on, and here we go. All right, so one of my goals was to set a morning routine. James Clear talks a little bit about that in his book, which was like my morning routine. Part of it was to have a devotional and a workout, and my goal is to put in a load of laundry every morning before I was allowed to have my coffee. And I gave myself like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 with this goal. I did it consistently sometimes, but not all the time. And another thing he said in his book was that like sometimes if you can't do your whole big goal, at least do part of it. And so I started small with my workout. I was literally, this is still what I'm doing, honestly, 10 minutes on the elliptical. I've got an elliptical in our room. And then I just do like 5 minutes of an arm workout, and I do 5 minutes of an ab workout, just a little stretching. So it adds up to be 20 minutes. And I was able to stick with that better than I've stuck with any workout routines in like 5 years. So I was proud of that. I'm going to call it a win for me. 6 or 7 out of 10. Keeping the house tidy. This is something Philip and I struggle with. I gave it a 7 out of 10. We didn't crush the goal, but it was better than we've done since we've been married. And the way that I did this was every night, part of James Clear, he says, write it into your schedule. I made myself do like a little like tidy before I went to bed. It was one of my last things to do before bed. One of my goals was to start a podcast, and I did it. Yay! So I get a 10 out of 10 for that one. Okay, this is one I really was excited about. See, Scout and Clive, those are our 2 older boys, become closer brothers. and have less fighting. There was a lot of competition between them. So I read a decent amount of parenting books last year, and they grew leaps and bounds in their relationship. So that one I'm so excited about. I give that a 9 out of 10. The book I highly recommend, I'm going to talk about this on another podcast, and I even want to start to share books that changed my life, was Calmer, Easier, Happier Boys. But there's also Calmer, Easier, Happier Parenting, if you have boys and girls. They're great. It's a great book. Great. Changed my relationship with my oldest son specifically, but all of my kids. I think it just helped me to, like, I don't know, learn how to be a mom a little better. I love that book. Okay, I wanted to plan camping trips. So we always do one with our church friends, but I wanted to plan one with the kids' school friends, and we did that. And I wanted to plan a mother-son ski trip, and we did that. And then I wanted to plan a mother-son dance, and tried to do that, but it didn't get passed by the school until next year. So next year I'll do that. All right. Oh, I wanted to record sales training videos. That was on my list. We recorded them, but never edited them. That was a Fount goal. I think we could do better, so I'm going to re-record them in the new year. So I'm going to move that goal to a 2024 goal. So that's something you can do if you didn't accomplish it or to the level you wanted to in 2023. Move it over to 2024. Oh, a goal of mine was to get the kids in a morning and night routine. And we did that with, like, our chore charts. We got really into it with, like, their chore charts and their allowance. And so I'm going to give that, like, an 8 out of 10. We're not, like, 100% consistent with it all the time, but it's pretty darn good. It slips up if we run out of ones for the allowance. If you want to hear more about that, I did a podcast about that a few weeks ago. But that has been life-changing for us in the morning. It's been amazing. So that's a big goal of ours. Oh, we wanted to go on a family vacation this year, and we did that. We went to the Dominican Republic, and I personally love an all-inclusive because you don't have to cook and clean for a week. If that's something, like, sometimes if you go on vacation and you're just cooking and cleaning somewhere else, you still don't feel relaxed when you get home. So we did an all-inclusive where you, like, go up to the buffet with 3 little kids. If one kid wants to eat 3 hot dogs for lunch, great. If the other one wants a pile of fruit, great. If the other one just ends up eating croissants, fine. It's, like, just so nice to have a chill vacation that you don't have to cook or clean, and you don't have to wait at a long, like, restaurant experience, where it's hard with little kids. So that was so much fun, and I felt like a new woman at the end. It was very great bonding time with the family, and it felt like a true vacation. Loved it. Okay, this is a big one for me. Back to James Clear. I wanted to start a habit tracker. I'm going to get into this later. I'm going to circle back to that one, but that was a really hard one for me, and it's moving to my 2024 goals, because I would say I only get maybe like a 3 out of 10 because I only did it 1 month, but the 1 month I did it, it was amazing. So I'm moving it to 2024. Oh, okay. One of my goals last year was write more thank you notes. I love Jimmy Fallon, and he always does those joke thank you notes. He's like, thank you. And then he, like, writes funny thank you notes. I think of that all the time. But I started carrying thank you notes in my planner so that, like, when I have to write someone a thank you note, I just have them ready to go. So I got better at it, but I still have way room for improvement. I think what I'm going to do this year is, like, when I want to write a thank you note to someone, when I think of it, at the time, I'm going to put it in my to-do list, and I have an app, like the to-do list app. I'm going to move it there in the to-do list app so I remember. And then in the habit tracker, I'm going to do it all on one day, like Mondays is when I write my thank you notes during the week. Okay, plan college girls trip. Okay, we tried really hard with my college roommates and friends to plan a trip, and we just couldn't get it together, but we did end up doing something all of our families. We ended up going on a camping trip with all of them, and Jellystone, y'all, if you haven't been, it is fun. We went there with all of our college roommates, not all of them, 5 of us went with our husbands and our kids. It ended up being even better than a girls trip because the kids all got to bond and the husbands got to bond. So check it off. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It wasn't a girls trip, but it was a family trip, and it was awesome. Okay. Go gluten-free. So this is I have something called Hashimoto's disease. It's a thyroid or autoimmune disease. And I am supposed to be gluten-free. I have a gluten allergy that I got diagnosed with at like 18 or 19, and I've never done it. I've never gone totally 100% gluten-free. So I've been doing it this year, and I have slipped up here and there. And when I do, I get like really bad bone pain and like lady problems, like yeast infections. So I will give myself a 9 out of 10 on this one. It's the first time consistently for like maybe 9 months I've been doing gluten-free. And anytime I slip up, even a little, the next day, my bones really ache and I get yeast infections. So I just have been really committed to this one. It's actually not hard for me anymore because I realize how much better I feel when I do it. So give myself a 9 out of 10. All right, prep before bed. Ooh, this is a hard one for me. Like prep all the kids' backpacks, make everybody's lunches, like prep everything before bed. I'm even trying to get my outfits ready the night before and the kids' outfits ready. I do the kids, not mine. I don't make my lunch, and that takes forever in the morning. So I'm giving myself like a 4 out of 10 on that one. I definitely couldn't improve this year. All right. Okay. Oh, we wanted to have a record number of launches and styles and colors for Fount. And we did that. It was our biggest year of launches ever. It was so much fun, and I want to do it even more this year. We wanted to listen to more books. That was a big goal of mine. And my goal actually initially was to read more books. And I don't know about you. I'm a mom of 3 little boys, 8, 6, and almost 3. And when I put my head on the pillow at night, I pass out. Like if I'm reading a book, I will be out in 30 seconds. So I changed the goal, which I think is also important that you can adapt your goals, right? So I adapted my goal. Instead of reading books, I switched this year to podcasts, Audible. And it was life-changing for me. I started listening to my Audible books on the way to work and on the way home from work and like while I do my workout in the morning. And I've been able to get through almost a book a month. And it has just been so awesome and fun, and I've really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give myself a 10 out of 10 on that one because I figured out how to make it work. Because for years, I'd have books that I like didn't even touch because I just fall asleep. So listening to books is the way for me these days. Okay. Oh, this was a big goal for me. I want to be a clear communicator at work specifically. I heard about Brene Brown. I read one of her books a few years ago, which I actually did read because we had it like as an assignment for Fount with our whole management team. And it was called Dare to Lead. And one of the things she says in there is clear is kind. Meaning that like if you have someone on your team and you're giving them, I'll just use the head designer, Lindsay, as an example. So we've got a girl on our team that I work directly with. If I said, hey, go design a briefcase, and then I come back and then I have all this critical feedback for her on everything I don't like about the briefcase, that's not very kind of me, right? But if I say, hey, let's work on a briefcase and it should have brass feet and it should have a crossbody strap, and I think the handles should be more like a tote handle, and I think it should be about this size. It needs to have an exterior pocket, I really paint it done for her. I really that's another Brene Brown thing, in the same book, paint it done. I paint out everything I'm thinking and all my ideas that I want to be in this thing, because then there's creativity within that where you can take the expectation that someone expects and use that to create the thing that you want to make. So anyway, it's a little hard to explain. If you want to read that book, it's great. It's called Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. But this is something I've been trying to do more of at work to I think before I would have thought this was micromanaging. And then when I read her book, I realized that it actually is really helpful for people the more details you can give them, because you're not allowed to be upset when they come back and do what you asked. And it's not just you didn't give enough details. So that's something I've been working on. And it's been really rewarding in my work. I feel like my work relationships are better than they've ever been. So thank you, Brene Brown. I love that concept you shared in your book. So those were my goals for the year. I feel like they went pretty well. And then I did start to write my goals for 2024. I'm not going to share them yet because later I'm going to share a challenge with you guys that I want to do. If anyone wants to join me, I love a challenge. What the challenge is this habit tracker, because as I shared before, that this is something I want to do more in 2024. It was exhausting, I have to warn you, but I loved it. It is something James Clear, I highly recommend this book. It's something that he talks about frequently throughout the book. And I never had heard of a habit tracker. I had no idea what it was. And then after reading his book, I looked it up. And he talks about habit stacking and habit tracking. And I'm going to hold this up for anyone who's on YouTube. You can see it. The habit tracker that I got, it was from Amazon. It's called Track Me Habit Tracker by Lamare, Lamare. I did do quite a bit of research to find out which one of these I wanted to buy. If you're listening on iTunes or any of those apps, I'm just going to explain it to you. So it's kind of like a spiral. Okay, and let me count. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slots where you can write 10 habits. And then it's got 31 days that you're tracking. Okay, and then it also has a separate part where you're tracking by the week, and then a separate part where you're tracking by the month. So basically, you can write 10 new habits or habits you think you're doing and you're not sure how frequently you're actually doing them. You can put them in there. So the month that I really stuck with this really hard and was so married to it and committed to it was October of this year. And I'll tell you what, you know, when your kids go back to school in that first like week or two, they're exhausted because they're starting like new routines and habits. That's how I felt with this. Or the feeling like when you get a new job and you have so much to learn and you're so tired because your brain is like on overdrive from learning. That is how I felt when I started this. And to be fair, at the end of the month, I was so tired that I didn't do it again in November or December. And here I am getting ready, geared up for January and feeling pumped and ready to try again. I'm going to read you what my habits were. My first thing was to get up at 6:45 and have a morning Bible study. And I actually ended up bumping that to 6:30 is what I'm doing now. I kind of still do this. I do like a little 5-10 minute thing, and then I do a little 5-10 minute journal. And then my next habit was at 7 a.m. And that was the thing. James Clear says to put a time on everything. So you're actually like sticking and in a spot where it actually fits. Because if you don't put times on things, it's hard to know if it actually really works in your schedule. So 7 a.m. was my morning workout with a podcast on or an Audible book. And that made it fun. That makes the time go fast. At 8:30, so like in between 7 and 8:30 is like when I'm like getting the kids out the door, dressed and out the door and all those things, getting myself dressed and out the door. Then at 8:30 I start my commute to work. That's this is gonna be funny. I'm embarrassed. But I use a jade roller on my drive to work. I leave it in my cup holder and I like have a place from my driveway until I go down Cedar Hill by my house. I do my jade roller on my eyes and like my like lines around my mouth. And then I do this thing called face yoga. I only know a few moves because I just watch these Instagram girls doing their crazy face yoga. And so I do a couple and I don't know if it helps, but it is fun. And then I also, at the rest of the stoplights, do my makeup when I'm stopped to put my mascara or whatever on. And the whole ride, I listen to a podcast. So if I do that, I do the jade roller, the face yoga, and the podcast. I get another dot on my chart. After that, that's my morning. And then like at work, every day my work day is different. So then I jumped all the way down to my night routine now. So at 7, I read to all 3 boys. At 7:30, we do allowance and chore charts. At 7:45, this is a funny goal. Don't fall asleep with the boys. I got in a really bad habit when I guess I was pregnant with Clive. I just love to get cozy in the bed when I say goodnight to the boys. With Scout, I would just pass out. And I would take these like 1 or 2 hour naps and then wake up at I guess sometimes 3 hours. I'd wake up at midnight or 11, and then I'd be up for a few hours, like cleaning or whatnot. And then it just wasn't good sleep. It was not a healthy habit. So that's something I'm trying to break. That one, if you look at my X's and my dots, that's a really hard one for me. I love to fall asleep with the boys, but it's not good for sleeping. I shouldn't do it. Okay, 8:15. That's when I'm supposed to do my night tidy, like my tidy around the house. And I put on there specifically the kitchen and my closet, because those are areas that get messy quickly. And then actually at that same time, I'm supposed to look at my planner and to-do list for the next day, to like kind of just clear my brain. I heard from somewhere, I don't know when or where I heard this, that if you look at your planner, or your if you do your planner in a physical paper planner or in your phone, if you look at it the night before and look at your to-do list for the next day, that it helps clear your brain so that you're not worrying about things in your sleep. So it kind of just helps you be prepared for the next day. That was a really hard habit for me to pick up. I really need to work on that one. I hardly ever did that. And then at 9:30, I do my night arm and leg workout after I wash my face routine, and then be in bed by 10. I literally never did. I did it once the whole month, be in bed by 10. I'm really bad at going to bed by 10. I'm lucky if I usually get in bed by 11:30. So it's something I really want to work at. Put that on my 2024 list, in bed by 10. And then last thing on the list, which I did really well with this one, vitamins and the AM and the PM. One thing I have one of those old people vitamin organizers where it's like the 7 days of the week, and then there's a morning side and there's a night side. I got the mega one, so there's room for all my vitamins. And if I organize my vitamins on Sunday night for the week, I will take them every morning and night. If I do not organize my vitamins into my vitamin organizer, forget it. I don't take them at all. But that's been a great tool. I feel like a 90-year-old every time I do it, because it's like such a funny little medicine box. But I'll tell you what, it has really helped me with that. So guys, here is the habit tracker. Ready for my next embarrassing part? On the side, you get weekly habits. So these are daily habits, right? Over here's weekly stuff. So I penciled it in, like on Sundays, I'm going to weigh in like how much I'm weighing, trying to get back to like my pre-having babies weight eventually. I'm not working crazy hard on it, but I'm trying to like slowly get back to there. Now that we're done having babies, on Monday, I'm trying to write my thank you notes. And then you get yourself a dot if you do the thing. On Tuesday, call a pal, call a friend sometime throughout the day. Usually in the night is when I do that. Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, call a pal. Friday, laundry away. That's my day off from Fount usually. And then Saturday, clean the cars. I even made a category for sex, because it's easy once you're busy with kids not to make it a priority. So I tracked that. And then tracking date nights. Philip and I are horrible at taking date nights, because a lot of time we have to use our babysitter kind of card with my parents to do Fount stuff. Like if we have Fount events, my parents will watch the kids then. So it's really hard for us to take a date night. So I really want to get better at that in 2024, to at least take one a month. One a week would be awesome. I have friends who like just pencil it in for every Friday night. But I don't know, that might be ambitious for us. Maybe 2 a month would be great. And then my monthly habits are things I just do once a month. Micro needling my face with my friends. My really good friend taught me how to do it at home. And so I go over her house and we do that together. It's really fun. And then date night, again, I told you we only did one that month. But yeah, those are this is a habit tracker. And it's really a great tool, because some of these things I thought I was doing all the time, I was really not. And then some of the things, that I wanted to pick up new habits because I saw it there and read it every day. I was really motivated to get that done. And then other things I realized, like getting in bed by 10, I literally never do. And I really need to work hard to make that a priority. So if you guys are at all interested in joining me for a challenge, the challenge is going to start on January 1st. Actually, like I highly recommend you getting this before January 21st, or not 21st, January 1st, because then you can create your habits ahead of time. I'm going to pencil mine in. I still have room. It's kind of nice. This one that I got by Lamar, I guess that it's empty. So it starts like you can, it's for any month. So because I was a slacker and didn't do it November or December, I can just pick right up in January. It's not dated, so that is kind of a nice feature. And I'm going to write down at the end of the month, which is in just a week, I'm going to write down my 10 habits I want to really stick to in January. And I got like some fun markers when they show it on Amazon. There's like whoever did it with like fun rainbowy colors. You can make every line a different color if you want, or you can just do it in black. I did it in like just blue, and it was not good because I couldn't keep track of what line I was on. So I am going to try the rainbow thing next time I do it. And I highly recommend this one. You can stick it in your briefcase or your work bag, or leave it somewhere that you see often at home. The things I was doing were my night routine and my morning routine, so I didn't really need to take it to work. So I just left it up on my dresser in my bedroom. So I guess that would be the other feedback, is try to put it somewhere that you're going to see it often. So anyways, I hope you will join me in this challenge. It is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to like really try to give it my all, to at least use the tool, even if I have to give myself an X. When I do the thing that, like when I do the habit, I get a dot. When I don't do the habit, I get an X. And like, even if I have to, put a bunch of X's because I couldn't keep up with the habit, that is okay. It's just a matter of like doing it to like get that new habit. Because James Clear says that like when you start a new habit, it's really hard work at first. But then like once it becomes a habit, it almost becomes, I guess that's the nature of the word habit, right? It becomes like second nature for you to just do it because it's part of your routine. So then I guess you can move things off of the habit tracker because they're part of your natural routine. And then you can add new things the next month to the habit tracker. So that concludes this episode of the Chit Chat with Happy Jack podcast. I hope this is exciting for you because I am pumped, and I'm excited to talk with you next week. And I will see you then. Until then, have a great night or a great morning, whenever you're listening to this. And until next time.